E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Quinoa, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Quinoa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Hope I wasn't too loud there on that initial speak. I saw all the little graphs shoot up there. I apologize for that. Welcome to Making a Difference in Business. And today we're going to be talking about something called glossophobia, overcoming the fear of public speaking. And during this presentation, I'm going to share with you my personal journey of how I was able to overcome that. But before we get started into that, I want to give a shout out to my brother, Ben Grant. Ben is in a home. He suffers from Alzheimer's. And I know that my nephew will show them this. And I just want to say to my big brother, Ben, thank you for being my brother. You and I have been through a lot together. You were 8 years older than I was, and probably better looking too. But I remember when you were 13 and I was 5, you went in to have your tonsils taken out. And they drugged me along too. We were on the buddy plan on that deal. And then back during 2012, Ben had a heart attack. He had the widowmaker, which was hereditary. I didn't know it was hereditary. No one told me. And he had to have some bypass surgeries. Well, in 2021, I had the same type of thing. Had a heart attack, open heart surgery, the Cabbage 4 procedure as it's known. But the ironic thing is that Ben and I both, in the respective year of 2012 and 2021, we both had our heart attacks on Halloween. What can I say? But Ben, I just want to give a shout out to you and thank you for being my brother. I love you. And you've just been a great inspiration to me. You really have. You've been a mentor to a lot of people in your life. And I just wanted to say, I'm thinking of you. I appreciate you, brother. I love you. And I'm praying for you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you know someone that you'd like to give a shout out to, please, 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 please just send it to our email address here at the TV station, inspiration@3E360TV, and either myself, Donna, or Emerson, one of our hosts, we will be more than glad to share your shout out to your loved one and friend, family, it doesn't matter, or group of people. Like the other day, I gave a shout out to the nurses, all the nurses that were in the hospital, who had administered to me when I was in the hospital, and it's very important. And we do that right at the very beginning of the show. So please let us know if there's anyone there you'd like to, give a shout out to. We'd be glad to do it. And you can visit our website. Just simply remember ourtvshow.live. That will automatically redirect you to our actual website. All of our shows are there. That's, been recorded. And of course, let's see here. We're also on Facebook. Just find us on Facebook at Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show on Facebook, and also same thing on YouTube. I'm having to work all the things here, so please bear with me a little bit. But our show is brought to you by the Hometown Good News magazine. We're going to be part of that as it kicks off on its initial journey. We're very fortunate for that. And also on YouTube. So please like and follow, and please share this particular show with someone because public speaking, that grips a lot of people, the fear of it. It's called glossophobia. Glosso means Greek, comes meaning the tongue. Glossophobia, we know what that is. And so it's the fear of public speaking. Uh, Imagine how I felt as a kid in grade school. I'm sitting in there and I knew nothing about, I knew what an oral book report was, but I knew nothing about it. And the teacher just up and says one day, in the fall and in the spring, each of us will read a book and give an oral book report in front of the class. And for some reason, fear just gripped me. And every single thing I could think of as a way out got the door slammed on me. I thought, well, the day I'm scheduled to do it, I'll just tell Mom I'm sick. I don't feel good. And then the teacher says, if you're sick that day and you can't make it, we'll just reschedule you. I'm going, oh, man. Well, I guess I could, because the only thing I really read, I'm a little bit in the textbook, let's be honest, but comic books. And then the teacher says, you have to go to the library. You're going to have to check out a book, come back, show me the book. I'll write it down and you will give an oral book report on that book. I thought, oh man. So being an overly intelligent kid that I was, when I went into the school library to check out a book, naturally, the one I was looking for was the thinnest book they had on the shelf. Both of those oral book reports were excruciating for me. It was a horrible experience for me. And as a result, I avoided public speaking for a long, long time. And a lot of people say, well, Jim, I thought this show's about entrepreneurships and all that. It really is. However, if you can't get your message across, or you may be invited to a podcast, or you may be invited to speak at a luncheon, there are some things I'm going to share with you, especially those of you that suffer from glossophobia the way I did, to help you conquer it. And we're going to do it right now during this presentation. And from that was the only time in school I ever had to give a oral book report or any type of oral report standing in front of class, because I figured I will never speak in front of anybody because I know I can't do it. I just can't do it. And, it just really shaped my life, because as I traveled down the pathway of life, I was in the reserves and National Guard for 28 years total, and served a total of 31 years. Those of you that follow us out in TV land know that in the United States Army and Army Reserves. But every time I could wiggle around, given a class or something like that, I would. I'd find some way to wiggle out of it. And usually what I'd do, I would take on an unpleasant task that someone didn't want to do, and for them to take my class, which was an oral book report or whatever. So that was the way I wiggled out of it. And for many years, for decades, that was the way that I operated, because I knew that I just could not speak in front of a group of people. It just could not happen. And as luck has it sometimes, they call it luck, but it's really faith. Sometimes as you're traveling down the pathway of life, the energy for your calling in life, I'm a big, firm believer in following the energy in your life, because we've all heard the joke, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans, right? Well, why do we, laugh at that? Because we know it's true, but then we want to go out and wing it like a renegade on our own. And so I did not, as I said, want to be a speaker. And after I came back from Desert Storm, I did not go overseas, but I volunteered for 1 year service in support of Operation Desert Storm back in 1990, 91. And the unit I was assigned with got disbanded. It went away. And so now I've got one or two choices. Either just forget about the military, but I've got too many years invested in it. I've got 3 active. I got 10 here in the reserves. That's 13 years. I got 7 more before I retire. I just didn't want to throw in the hand towel. So I started searching and looking and trying to find a place to, that I could find as a home. Fortunately for me, the only place I could find, because a lot of people were scrambling for units, was a reserve school over in Beaumont, Texas. And I was going to be the finance NCO, but I also had to become an instructor. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I can find some way to wiggle out of that. Fortunately for me, it didn't happen. I had to go, and I took a total of 3 instructor training courses throughout my career, but the initial one was called Battle Focus Instructor Training Course. It was the best course I ever took because it taught me how to put together a presentation. And we're going to cover a little bit of that today. So not only will you know how to overcome the fear of public speaking, you will also know how to have confidence in your presentation, because that's the 2 keys that will make everything work for you. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh, come on, Jim, there's no way, you don't know me, I can't talk. Just take a deep breath and relax. Fasten your seatbelt and just ride with me. When I went to Battle Focus, and I had to put together a class, and then I had to present it. I never will forget. The chief instructor of the class says, well, we're going to take a break for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back, and Sergeant Grant's going to give his presentation. And right away, I'm getting, I can't hardly breathe, and my chest is tight and all that. I walk into the latrine, or the bathroom, men's room, and I remember I washed my face with cold water with my hands. I'm just, washing my face and trying to get my breathing under control or whatever, because I was just very, very nervous. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, my goodness, you look as pale as can be, and that's how scared that I was. And ladies and gentlemen, I got up there and I gave the worst performance of my life. I stuttered and I talked real fast, and I was awful. I was awful. I was no more, in my mind, instructor material than it just wasn't there. I was awful. That was the word of it. I was embarrassed. I felt ashamed. And, I just, I thought, well, they'll probably just say, well, Jim, we wanted you to be an instructor, but you ain't got it. And I would have said, fine, and walked away. But this one instructor came up to me. He was a senior instructor also there in the class. He wasn't taking a class. He was one of the instructors that was subbing in there. And he came up to me and he says, Jim, I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to believe me. I said, what's that? He said, you're going to be one heck of an instructor. I looked at him and I thought, come on. I mean, don't try to put me together like that. I mean, I know what a flop is, and I was a flop. I embarrassed myself, and I was awful, and I was the worst one of the bunch. And I'm not trying to sound, dramatic. I'm just telling you that's the way it went down. And he says, I'm going to work with you because I was the same way, Jim. And I'd seen this guy on stage, and I went, no. I'm thinking, no. You weren't as bad as I am. No question about that. He says, trust me, Jim. He says, I was as bad as you feel right now. He says, I'm going to take you under my wing, and I'm going to teach you a few basic things. And these few basic things he taught me, I'm going to share with you today. This is my complimentary gift for, watching the show. This is my way of saying thank you out there in TV land. He says, Jim, there's several things we're going to do. First of all, we're going to prepare what you're going to talk about, what you're going to present. So you prepare it. And then you practice it. Now, back in those days, back in the 90s, we didn't have cell phones that we have today and so on and so forth. He says, get a tape recorder and record your voice. As you practice giving this presentation, visualize that you're standing in front of some people. And I listened to the tape and I thought, hey, I did not like it. And so he worked with me. He said, let me hear the tape. I didn't want to play it. He said, let me hear the tape. It's okay. All right. He says, I know what's wrong. And I said, what? I started talking. He says, no, not that. He says, you're not controlling your breathing. I said, well, it's kind of hard to control your breathing when you're worried or scared or whatever. And he taught me something, and this is very, very critical. This is the first thing you need to know about conquering the fear of public speaking. That is simply this, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever you get ready to speak, you may start out, hello, everyone. How you doing today? Pause. Take a deep breath and relax. Like you're giving people a chance to respond. And then when you're pronouncing your words, you will automatically slow yourself down if you focus on pronouncing your words phonetically. That's key. So that's the first thing you want to focus on as far as the verbal exercise. Now, in preparing yourself for the presentation, this is where you make a good, presentation. This is where you make your good notes. You don't want to stand there, and I just got a pad here and read to the class because no one wants to be read to, right? But you want to have, this, like I said, just a little computer pad here I've got here for my mouse. But you want to have, I used to use index cards, whatever works for you. But index cards worked great for me because I'd number them. Now, that's another thing. Make sure you number them. Otherwise, you'll be standing up there like you're going through a deck of cards. I've done that before, too. But number 1, number 2, and I circle it up in the right-hand corner. But on there, you just want to put bullet comments. Short. These are just triggers to remind you of your next topic. So therefore, you've got a safety net there that you're not going to get lost, and you're not going to ramble over here and ramble over there and, oh, I forgot about this. I'm going to go back there, because that will create confusion. And it will also create frustration. So whenever you put your notes together on, I think I still got some of these 3x5 index cards around here. In fact, I know they do. They're over there in the desk drawer. I can't reach it. But anyway, practice that. And put down no more than 3 or 4 keywords per line, and make sure they're big enough that you don't have to, squint and look at it. You just want to glance, scan, and go. Remember that. Glance, scan, and go. You glance at the card, you scan it real quickly, and you're talking. That is how you become a professional presentator. If you're speaking at the Lions Club, if you're speaking on a TV screen or a podcast or whatever, that's what you want to do. You can set your cards up over here out of the way of the camera, just like I move my hand out of the way of the camera. You can glance over there. However, whatever works for you, but practice it. Practice, practice, practice. You got to prepare and you got to practice. And then when you do all that, then you got to practice on presenting it, the presentation, and record it. You can do it very easily now with cell phones, and also let someone else listen to your presentation. If you want to get on Zoom and film it, that's even better, because everybody's heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a video is worth 1,000 pictures, okay? Now, let someone that you know, that you respect, that will give you honest feedback. You're not looking for them to, you don't want to find anybody to criticize. You can find those people easy. You're wanting someone that will give you honest feedback. Tell me what, you see that I could improve on here. Tell me what you like. Point out what you didn't like. Okay? Because I had one bad habit, and I still got it to some degree. If you watch TV, follow the show, you'll see me. I look around a lot, and I just do that. That's a very bad habit. And it's something I need to work on, to be honest with you. And so that is the type of feedback that you're looking for. You want to have the courage to look into the audience if you're on a camera, through the camera lens. And just remember this is so critical. Make sure that your mindset is just like I'm talking to people all around the world right now. I'm having a one-on-one conversation with you from my heart of my experience and what I overcame in the world of, the fear of public speaking. Now, let's go up a little bit further. Let's take it up a notch. Once you do that and you practice and you present it and you continue on, let people know that you're a subject matter expert in a particular topic. Because there are stages out there you can get on. Everybody, every single host, including this TV show, we're always looking for good content. If you write articles, people who are editors in magazines and different publications, they're looking for good content. Okay? And if you don't, ring your bell or raise your flag and say, hey, I got content, they will never know it. So therefore, you want to practice your skill and let them know what you're good at, because everybody is good at something. Just like my personal journey, I can tell many different, share many different, I want to say stories, I almost said stories, but I can share many different presentations that will help people because of my journey in life. Of course, I'm 74. I've got a lot more miles down the pathway of life than most or than a lot of people do. And so if it's talking about how I became an instructor, overcoming the fear of public speaking, how people who know me now, when they see me on stage in Orlando and different places, you, of all people, suffer from public speaking, the fear of it? Yes, I did. Very much so. To the point that I could barely talk when I was in front of someone. To the point when that sergeant took me aside and says, you may not believe this, you're going to be a great instructor. And I thought he was just, come on. I didn't believe him. And so therefore, whenever you're talking to, someone that's got a podcast, someone that's putting on an event, the first thing you want to know is, are you a good fit for that audience? Make sense? A lot of people come on a show and they make the mistake, wow, I want to be on that podcast, I want to be on that TV show because I'm a best-selling author and it's a chance for me to, tell people about my book and impress people with who I am and what I've done, and they're going to like me. And I just see Amazon, my book on Amazon just flying off the shelf. And I've told one individual in my life, I said, when is the last time you ever picked up your TV remote and went shopping or searching for sales pitches? Because that's all they wanted to do, was do a sales pitch. People are not going to listen to you if you're in there for a sales pitch. People will listen to you if you're bringing value to them from your heart to their heart. That's the key right there. And that will also help you conquer the fear of public speaking, because just remember, if you're in a room and there's 300 people in there, so what? I'm going to be talking to this person one-on-one. I'm going to be talking to that person back there one-on-one. And I'm going to scan the audience. I'm going to see that person sitting in the back row, and I'm going to say a few words to him as I look over here and there and back and forth. And I'm going to look at different people throughout my presentation, because if I only look in this direction over here and I'm talking to that person there and I'm talking to this people over here and that person there, everybody was sitting over here is going to say, hey, what about looking at us? How about talking to us, Because sometimes we can get caught up into the mechanics of it and we lose focus of reality. So therefore you want to include all of your audience. And when you're on a show or whatever podcast has got a camera, look at the camera. Because, as I'm talking to you and sharing this information with you, I'm looking at you through the camera lens. What if I sit here and I'm always looking down and I'm talking like this and I'm looking at myself here on the monitor instead of looking at you? That would kind of aggravate you. It's disrespectful too. So just keep that in mind. Now, when you're talking to the podcaster or the event coordinator, some of the principles are the same. You want to make sure that your content that you're going to share is going to be a good fit for their audience. One of the best things you can do, is ask the person in charge, tell me about your audience. Tell me about your demographics. That would, get the conversation going. Okay. And say, okay, I've got presentations I can give on this topic, or this topic. Which would be the best, the best one that you'd like for me to give, or the one you would prefer me give on your show to your audience. In other words, your key mission, write this down. Your key mission, whether it's someone's got a podcast or someone that's an event coordinator and they got all these people out there, they come to this physical stage. Your job is to make that person look good. That's right. That's your sole mission, is for the audience to say, wow, when Mary or Tom put on an event, wow, they really bring in some good talent. Your job is to make the event coordinator or the host, whoever's in charge, make them look good before their audience. That's your job. That's priority one. If you focus on that and you focus on, the other things that we talked about or shared with you earlier, you're going to be okay. And when you're controlling your breathing and you're pronouncing your words, and you pause and you pronounce them phonetically, especially words you want for them to register in their mind. Just like, you wouldn't want to say, well, we got this sale going right now. We have this sale going right now, ladies and gentlemen, because you want to emphasize the importance of the words that's important in your presentation, okay? And also, too, this is a huge thing. With podcasters, TV hosts, event coordinators, do not show up late. That is a major, major, major disconnect. You're simply saying, I don't respect you. I'm not interested in being on your show, because I've had this happen to me. I tell, guests when we used to do the guest all the time, be in the studio 10 minutes early. We want to make sure your audio, your video, your voice and everything is good to go. I want to make sure we got your name on the ticker tape right, your website, yada, da, da, da. We're about 5 minutes from going live and I can't reach them on the cell phone. Send them a message, where are you? And they pop in 2 minutes late. You don't know, if the audio is going to be good. I mean, it really, plus you're a little bit nervous, and it's not fair to a host, and a host does not forget that. So at least have the common decency and courtesy and respect to show up early and be prepared and be respectful. I followed a guy one time on stage, and we were all allotted certain amounts of time. The event coordinator had a tight schedule. we're going to have this person on, and this person's going to talk to like 1:45. You're going to come on at 1:45. You're going to talk to 2:30, yada, da, da, da. Well, this guy got on there and he was a motor mouth. He has kept talking and talking and talking, and he was so impressed with himself, he went over time. Well, that really throws the event coordinator's schedule. You can imagine how the event coordinator felt. Like, oh, I got all these other speakers. I got to get on there, and I can't get this guy off. He won't shut up. And I was next. So I walked over to the event coordinator, and I says, I can alter my talk without cutting out anything that's important in my presentation and get you back on schedule. Oh, thank you, Jim. I was like a breath of fresh air. Guess who guess? Just take a wild stab at who got invited back for a presentation and who didn't. That's right. If you abuse that, you will be what's known as a one and done in that industry. And the power of public speaking, it can unlock a lot of doors for you. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get let's say you've come across a great formula for increasing someone's health, or you found a great product that will help somebody that's suffering from something, or they're struggling in their business, whatever it might be. Public speaking and doing videos and being on shows is a great way to get your message across. Again, it's not a sales presentation. That's the key of being a great speaker. You want to build a relationship with the people through the virtual stage, number one. Number two, you want them to know, like, and trust you. They're not going to buy anything from you if they don't know you or like you or trust you. So get out of the sales pitch. Leave that at home. Put that in the closet. Because you want to impress them with that, wow, I like this guy or this gal. I think they know what they're talking about. And I'm going to go to the website and check them out. You build a relationship with them. That's how you build your business. And you can do it by presenting yourself as a subject matter expert who speaks from their heart to your clients' hearts. That's the value in what I'm sharing with you today. So if you have an opportunity to be on a podcast or something, do that. Because if you do the principles, and I can't see what the time is without my glasses, better put my glasses on, act my age. Okay, we just got plenty of time. But if you practice the principles I have spoken about earlier, you can do this. It may take you a little while. So what? And this is another thing. I'm glad I just thought of it. Here I am doing a presentation and I have no notes because it's so ingrained in me. I have that confidence because I've shared parts of this story many, many times in my life to encourage others. Please don't try to give the perfect presentation. It will make you so worried and so upset. And if you're able to pull it off, chances are it's going to be semi-boring. And I'll tell you why. Your focus will be all on how can I sound eloquent? How can I sound very knowledgeable? That's not what reaches people. What reaches people is a person that the people can look at and say, I can relate to this person. A lot of people relate to me because I'm just an average guy. One lady in, I think it was in India, she asked me, she says, Jim, no, it was in Indonesia. She says, Jim, you're really a celebrity, aren't you? And this is where Emerson Brantley, we kind of go back and forth on this. And I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. He says, Jim, you should own that. I says, Emerson, I don't look at myself as being some kind of a celebrity. I mean, I just can't. I mean, that to me is egotistical. I want people to look at me and relate to me because I'm just a plain old guy. I laugh when I make mistakes on the air. Those of you that's followed us out there in TV land, when I mispronounce a name or mispronounce a word or can't, there's sometimes you get a word, a word, you know how to say it. But from the back of your head to the tip of your tongue, you can't get that word to roll off right. You know what I mean? And I just laugh about it. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have a degree in mispronouncing words correctly the first time. And I laugh about it because that's something that everybody can relate to. Because we've all been there. We all know what it's like to stutter or can't pronounce the word or something like that. That just shows that you're human. And that's what people want to deal with, is a true human that you are. What's one of the biggest complaints when we call customer service? We can't talk to a human, right? Absolutely. Because those AIs, those artificial intelligence, they're definitely artificial, ain't no doubt about that. But the recordings come on. You can say anything you want to. You can say, "How can I pay my bill?" or "How can I?" And you tell them what the problem is, and I'm sorry, I didn't get that. And they say, "Give me a human." Some of you're giggling with me because you know what I'm talking about. You've been down that street, and it's so frustrating. So therefore, appreciate the fact that you can be the human that someone wants to talk to. They may want to ask you questions and see if you're the person that they want to work with. Remember, in a presentation, it's not about selling. It's about building a rapport and relationship with the folks out there. And accept the fact that even on my show out in TV land, there's a lot of people that doesn't care for my style or doesn't care for my show or whatever. That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Because they're not, they're just not my audience. But the people who are my audience, they follow me and they like me because I'm genuine. And that's what you want to be. You want to be the real deal when you show up. Because we've all seen people, how can I say this? They appear to be something that they're not. They appear to, I'm not going to go any further than that. You know what I'm talking about. Just be yourself. Show up and be the real you. And if someone asks you a question, you don't know the answer to it, just say, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but let me find out about that and I will get back to you on that. Will that be okay? At least you're being honest. Because everybody knows that nobody knows everything. So if you're asked a question that you do not know the answer to, especially if it's a technical question about a product or something of this nature, and you're not sure the answer, don't make up an answer. Truth always will rise to the top, and lies will always pull back the curtains and expose you for who you are. Don't have that reputation. It's 100% avoidable. And please, 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 just be honest. If you're not sure about something, a lot of people say, well, that's a great question, and don't become a human parrot either. People do not want to hear you say the same thing that everybody else does. It shows you're not genuine. Develop your own personality, your own technique. That's what I do here on the show. And looking here, oh, okay, just got a message in. But just be yourself, be genuine, be down to earth. And just say, folks, for many years, I didn't know about this, and this is how I found out about it. But take them on your journey. Because remember this, 6 months from now, whether you're speaking on a virtual stage, a physical stage, in front of a luncheon group, they're not going to remember 5 words of what you said. but every single one of them will remember exactly how you made them feel. Think about that. And when they think about your name, they're not going to think of or remember about, well, it's 49.99, but today only, we're only 19.95. They're not going to remember any of that junk. But they're going to remember how you made them feel. They're going to remember that you were a real person, down to earth, you were open, you were honest, you gave the best, information that you knew how. Someone asked you a question. I'm not real sure about them. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I've used that as an answer. It's an honest answer. It's an answer that everybody can understand. I don't use the canned questions. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. You're not glad. Be honest with you. Someone asked you a question in front of a crowd you don't know the answer to. You're not glad they asked you that, right? Just look at them straight in the eye and say, I got to be honest with you. I don't know the answer to that, but I will find the answer and I will get back to you. Would that be okay? See, that's something everybody can relate to. Because if I go, I'm glad you asked that question, they're going to know. Anyway, I think you get the point there. I'm not going to go any deeper in that. But I just also want to say this, and I feel compelled to say this from the bottom of my heart. I'm just so grateful for the people in my life who have helped me shape myself, find myself, and help me down the pathway of life. Don't ever forget these people. And I've got more than I could. If I started, I'd probably be upset at the ones I couldn't remember. There's been a whole list of people. I got to start with this book right here. Please bear with me because I'm going somewhere with this, and this is not a sale, I promise. This gentleman here is Mr. Bill Heinrich, The 7 Levels of Truth. And this is his book here. I keep goofing up the lights when I do this. The 7 Levels of Truth. It's on Amazon. But Bill, in his book, he talks about how he walked away from his life. That book is a 30-year journey down the pathway of life to find himself. He had to find out why he was so miserable. And Bill has taught me to love myself first, then I can love others. And about there's only 2 feelings in life, 2 real emotions. There's love and there's fear, okay? One is physical, and the other one is at a much higher plane. And the one that we are anemic for is love. And I want to give a shout out to Bill Heinrich for being my friend. And in fact, we, as a courtesy to Bill, and we don't receive anything from this. This is because Bill is our friend. And let me find it here. Oh my goodness. We got so many different things here. The 7 Levels of Truth is brought to you by Bill Heinrich. It's on Amazon. But Bill has been very instrumental in my life. And I want to recognize him. And also want to recognize my good friend, Don Mcgrath, Dandy Don Mcgrath. Don and I, we've done some things together, and we've had a lot of fun together, and we've worked hard together. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, Don Mcgrath, the best way I can describe him is he's a friend that you've never met. And he's kind of retired now. He's a rock climber, has been for years. And so, but he was very instrumental in helping me fine tune my speaking craft. And Bill and Don together created a 6-minute webinar. And the 6-minute webinar is something where you can actually craft any presentation you want to give to make your presentation a wow type presentation. And true to my word, if you email us here at the station, got to put my glasses back on and act my age, please bear with me. As I tell some people, they say growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional. So I hope I never execute that option. There we go. Just email us at inspiration at e360tv.com. Our staff will get it. And you can just say 6-minute webinar if you want to know more about that, because it really is a 6-minute webinar. It has an introduction, a body, and a close. And it doesn't start out with, this is my name, and I'm a best-selling author, and I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, I'm this and that. Because always ask yourself a very important question on everything you're going to present, every comment. So what? So what is the value of what I'm going to say here to the audience? That's how you build relationships, ladies and gentlemen. That's what makes the world turn. And if you'd like to know more about getting over the fear of public speaking or got some questions about it, please email us here. I'll be glad to, if enough people show up, or I'll do it one-on-one, doesn't matter. I'll be glad to help you. And the reason why I'm going to help you is because I know if I help you and I bless you, somewhere down the road, I'm going to get blessed back. That's good enough, right? That's like a paycheck that's coming, without even having to work for it. So that's why I do what I do. The same way is true with the 6-minute webinar. If you'd like to find out more about it and see what it can do with you with no cost to you, please email us and we'll get some information to you on that. And that way you can sit down and, like I tell people, always sit down and think about things overnight. Oh, good. We're not out of time yet. We're almost are. Because I tell people it's very, very important to remember, if it's a good deal today, it will be a good deal tomorrow. So if you're ever in a presentation or watching a presentation and someone is trying to pressure you, you got to get it today, otherwise the price is going up, or that they're going to take down this website, or da-da-da-da-da-da, run. Those are not the kind of trustworthy people that you want your good name to be associated with. So anything that I say here about the, of course, the glossophobia, the overcoming the fear of public speaking, that's complimentary. That's my gift. I won't be, ladies and gentlemen, I do 6 live shows a week. I don't have time to chase after people on emails to try to sell them something. Besides that, I respect the fact that you're like me. You don't like spam, and you don't want people hustling, trying to pitch you something. And also for the information on the 6-minute webinar, I can get with Don and we can provide something. We'll provide information to you and then sit down, look at it. And if it's a good deal today, it's going to be a good deal tomorrow. See how it feels in your stomach. Don't make an emotional decision on anything. Please don't. If anybody's trying to push you with that emotion button in a 1 3-letter word, run. I wish I'd have been that smart a few years ago, because anyway, we're not going to go there. But I also want to give a shout out as I get ready to close to my good friend, business partner, Donna Quinoa. Donna's a hardworking gal. She's a great partner, great friend. And we're brothers and sisters. In fact, that's the way I look at everybody. We're all brothers and sisters by different mothers. People can say what they want to, but scientists have proven that each one of us, regardless if you're male or female, black or white, it doesn't matter. Everybody can trace their DNA back to one man and one woman as mom and dad. So we're all brothers and sisters by different mothers. And Donna and I, we've been friends for several years now. And our paths were kind of like pushed together. And that's the kind of relationships you want in life. You want to be able to be the real you, and you will attract the people that you want in your life. And they want you in their life, more importantly. That's what you call a tribe, and that's the mission. Ladies and gentlemen, I think our time is just about all gone. Hey, just about. We got about another two or 3 minutes left. We had any longer than that, I'd sing you a song, you know. A lot of you going out there, it's okay, Jim. We good. Thank you. But I sincerely hope, because today I want to give a presentation about overcoming the fear of public speaking and how to become a public speaker. And I just hit, some of the high points going through here. Hopefully I did a good job of paving enough of the road to get over the rough spots for you. But if I can help you in any way, the email address is inspiration@e360tv. To come into the TV studio here, our staff will get it and just say, hey, Jim, I need help speaking, or whatever you want to say. And they'll know it should come to me. Anything speaking related will come to me. And we'll be glad to respond to you and provide any information and help that we can to help you in your hour of need. Because we value you as a viewer. It's our way of saying thank you. And I don't know if I finished up thanking Donna enough, because there's so much I could thank her for. But Donna, thank you for just being you. And Donna, you're my sister, and I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you for El Mucho, El Thankerito, for putting up with me. Donna will probably say amen to that. But, the main thing in life is to let your family and your friends know that you love them. Let them know that you care for them. They're important to you. And everybody likes to get a message from their loved ones, their family, their friends, and say, hey, I was thinking of you today. You crossed my mind. I just couldn't go any further without saying hello to you. Hope you're doing well. That's a wonderful thing for all of us to get in a good habit of. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is just about all gone. So I'm going to sign off now. And again, please, 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 if we can be of any help to you, if you'd like a complimentary session, 30-minute session with Mr. Bill Heinrich, a complimentary, which means no charge, please let us know. And we'll get in touch with Bill and get that signed up. And in fact, you don't even have to go through us. Let me put it up here, Bill's website. Bill's website. Bill's website. Here it is. Bill's website is True Life Purpose Now, just like it is on the marquee. Just go there and say, Jim on the TV show, he knows who I am. He'll know exactly who you're talking about. Says that I can have a complimentary 30-minute consultation with you. He will get that set up. And I'll tell you something. If you're trying to figure out, what should I do with my life? What's my calling in life? How come I'm frustrated? Or how come I just can't seem to move this mountain? Please get in touch with Bill. I give you my word, ladies and gentlemen, without a penny out of your pocket, that 30-minute consultation, he will open your eyes and he will help you connect some dots that you didn't even know you should be doing. In fact, let me show you something here. Let me have this. Thank you. Whoops. We were in Florida at Speaking Empire, and that's where I met Bill and Don initially. And I saw we were on break, because I walked over there at the table where Bill was sitting. He had a cup of coffee. I had a cup of coffee. Just going to sit down and start talking to him. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Just chit chat. Nothing. And Bill started asking me questions. And he didn't tell me anything. He was just asking me questions. And based on my answer, he would ask me more questions. Long story short, I knew I needed to write a course. The future is now. The thing almost slipped out of my hand there. The future is now. I had no more intentions of writing that course. And I cover, glossophobia in there too. I had no more intentions of writing that when I sat down than a man in the moon. But that's the type of things that Bill can pull out of your mind. The real you that's floating around trying to get through all the confusion up there. So please, 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 please get in touch with him there. I promise you, I give you my word, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Heinrich, just by asking you some questions, He will help you find out what's blocking you in your life. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please share the show with others. And for you folks out there in TV land who are faithful viewers, thank you so very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.